Well, looks like they just got done spraying soybeans. Now we're ready to get swapped over, geared up, put some nitrogen down on corn. All right, get this thing swapped over for nitrogen. You know, we're not going to be using our regular tips right here, so turn them to a blank spot. Then we're going to be installing our Needham Ag stream bars, which, you know, normally we use these on wheat, but 2 years ago we actually started using them on corn too. Now, using these stream bars on a big sprayer like this, is this the most efficient, the best way to apply nitrogen to your corn crop, most cost-effective way? No. Now, using these stream bars on a big sprayer like this, is this the most efficient, the best way to apply nitrogen to your corn crop, most cost-effective way? No, it is not. There are better ways agronomically to apply nitrogen to your corn crop. You can either knife it in, which has been a tried and true practice for years and years and years. However, that is very slow. You know, a knife rig's not going to be near as wide as this. You're going to be doing a lot more turning around. You're going to be doing a lot more running over corn. However, you know, you can knife a UAN directly down in the soil. You don't have to put any kind of stabilizer in there because it's already in the soil, which will lower your cost, but you will incur more crop damage. You know, probably the best, most efficient way to apply nitrogen to your corn is to have a wide drop system on a sprayer like this that will direct the nitrogen right to the base of the stalk on every single row. However, those wide drop systems are terribly expensive. You can only put them on 60 foot of the boom. So like the outside wings, you would leave them folded in and you just run the wide drops on the inside sections of the booms in the center section, and you'll be covering 60 feet at a time. But the big problem is in our rolling topography, I don't think a wide drop system would last very long, because the booms are always, you know, doing this, hitting the ground and everything. You know, bigger wide open fields, flatter ground, you know, that system works great, but it is expensive, and I have my doubts on how well it would hold up in our fields. Also, because you're only covering 60 feet wide, you're also going to be doing more turning in the field, more running over crop and everything. So, you know, the best compromise for us for speed and minimal crop damage is using these stream bars. Now, I have tried using just regular like 7-way fertilizer tips that we used to use on wheat, and it can do okay, but you also really run the risk of burning your corn crop, which we have done under certain conditions. These stream bars will give you a lot more even application and also less burn on your corn crop, but it needs to be done by the right stage. Obviously, the you know, bigger the corn gets, you know, the more leaf surface you got out there, the higher chances of, you know, this UAN contacting the corn leaves and burning your crop. Really haven't seen any kind of negative yield effects, but I mean, you're injuring the crop. I mean, it can't be good on it. So anyway, we're going to get all of these installed all along the sprayer, get loaded up, and we'll see you out there in the cornfield. We've been all right 100% of the time, and this is now the third year that we're doing it, but I've talked to others who've tried it, and I don't know if their corn was just a little bit bigger or what, but you know, they did experience a little bit more leaf burn than what they would like. Anyway, looking up here, this is one of our conventional fields. It was sprayed with a postemerge 7 days ago, last Monday, and because it's a conventional, we can't use Roundup on it. We had to use a product called Revulin instead, which is a nicosulfuron. same active ingredient as in Accent and Steadfast, plus it's also got Callisto in there. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty dang pricey chemical. It costs like $22 an acre versus almost $5 an acre for Roundup. So that one chemical, it ate up a decent amount of our cost savings on this conventional seed. But anyway, it definitely works a lot slower than what the Roundup does. You can tell right here, we got annual ryegrass putting back out, which, I mean, we expect the paraquat that we spray is not going to kill it, but it will burn it all the way back down to the ground. And then that's the key with annual ryegrass. The reason it's so hard to kill is because it's got such an absolutely massive root system. So what we do is we use a paraquat, it burn it all the way back down to the ground, and then the plant will start pulling reserves out of its root system to give itself energy to put back out, weakening the root system. And then we come back with postemerge and it'll kill it. And it looks like that Rivulan definitely not acting as fast as Roundup does. That ryegrass is looking a little sickly, so my hope is it'll go ahead and kill it. But this is my first foray back into conventional corn. I haven't grown any since, geez, I don't know, 2005, 2006. So learning how these herbicides work, having to refresh my memory. Anyway, let's get out of the end rows. I mean, the end rows kind of look crappy, a little bit thinner stand what I want. We'll get out here in the better part of the field, take a look at my corn. Here's some right here, don't have very much cover crop to block our view, and overall, I mean, I've got a pretty good stand. And I'd say we pretty much got about 95% emergence, which if you look at the seed tag, only 95% of the seeds are viable. So I'd say we got pretty close to what the seed tag says. And for its stage, and for the stage, it's got a nice healthy color to it and everything. We got pretty dang good even emergence. It's pretty much all at the same growth stage. And overall, with all of my varieties, with the exception of Decab 6744, I'm pretty happy with my corn crop so far. And then once it gets a taste of this nitrogen, it's going to be off to the races. Now, we're side dressing our corn a little bit earlier than what most people do, and there's a reason for that. For one thing, I want to be able to use our stream bars to put it on so we can get across the crop, get our nitrogen applied a whole lot quicker. But also, what I found in my testing is that with the cover crops that we grow, the high biomass and everything, delaying my nitrogen side dress application definitely leads to reduced yields, because we got a lot of biological activity going on in the soil trying to decompose all of this residue. We got wheat straw and soybean residue left over from last year, which has still got to be decomposed, and then we got all this cover crop residue that's got to be decomposed, and all these microbes and everything, they need nitrogen to help decompose all of this residue. And what that does is that will starve the corn plants if you don't apply enough. Now, at planting, we applied 70 units of nitrogen to this field, which generally gets us to V5 stage, and now we're almost at the stage where the corn is determining how big around the cob is. Its nitrogen demands are increasing, so we want to make sure that we got our final shot of nitrogen by that stage, just to make sure we're not starving the corn plant any, because like I said, there's a lot of biological activity going on now. All the nitrogen that the bacteria is utilizing to decompose this cover crop, I mean, it's not gone. I mean, it's going to be returned back to the soil, but it's going to be at a later point in the season, which gives us a boost in late season fertility. But what I found dealing with corn and these high biomass cover crops, we don't have to apply any more total nitrogen than what we would in a no-till situation. But what we do have to do, so we don't suffer any kind of yield penalty, is apply more of our nitrogen earlier than what we would in a no-till situation. And also something else we're doing this year, we tried it a little bit last year, we started reducing our nitrogen rates, because I firmly believe that we're over fertilizing our corn. And my goal every year is to produce over 1 bushel of corn per pound of nitrogen applied. And last year we dropped our top nitrogen application level, our highest application level, down by 20 units an acre, and then we left all the other levels the same. And then this year across the board, I'm dropping another 10 units an acre across all of our zones. and we'll see if our corn yields maintain themselves. You know, we're not wanting to do anything overly drastic, but you know, dropping our nitrogen by 10 pounds an acre is going to save us around $6 an acre right there. And as long as we can maintain our yields, then that means it's just going to be more money in the bank. All right, now looking here, we're on a south-facing part of the hill. You can see it goes over this way. So this soil was going to be a little bit warmer, catch a little bit more sun rays, and this corn's a little bit farther along. We got V1, V2, V3, V4. This right here is at V5. So you can see it's definitely a bigger plant. Got more leaf area to intercept nitrogen. So that's definitely the right time to get this nitrogen on. Just have to see how much we can get on before it's supposed to rain tomorrow. I also want to give you a quick view of our sweet corn. Here's my field corn. And there's my sweet corn. Of course, that sweet corn was planted, it was planted at least a week later. And it's never going to look as impressive. But it's at V3, almost V4 now. Just definitely a lot shorter plant, but it's going to get the same amount of nitrogen that our field corn is going to get. Hopefully all that extra nitrogen makes for some sweeter ears. Well, it looks like all of us going to get a very much needed day off. Rain came in overnight, got about a slow half-inch of rain, which was absolutely perfect for everything we've done. It wasn't a whole lot of rain. It wasn't a heavy pounding rain. Wasn't a cold rain. Just enough rain to get all of our pre-emerges that we sprayed over the last week, get them activated. The fertilizer we sprayed yesterday, get it activated and everything else, and shouldn't adversely affect, you know, our crops in any way. Kind of wish that it held off until later day, so we could have gotten more of that fertilizer on. But hey, Lord sends it, I'll take it. But we're not out of the woods yet. You see that clearing right there? That's going to be here shortly. And that's going to be what's supposed to fuel the major event today, another round of severe storms. So hopefully we miss those pounding rains with too much rainfall, which could adversely affect everything. But as far as our cotton crop, the last planted, I mean, it's been in the ground 48 hours. I mean, it ought to be germinated. Of course, it's not up, but it ought to be germinated. So I don't think, knock on wood, I don't think we're going to be dealing with any problems of seed rotted this year. If we have any problem, it's going to be that it just couldn't emerge. But as shallow as I planted it all, we shouldn't have any problems with that. Again, I say shouldn't. I said that about the corn crop, and one of the varieties we got a subpar stance, so I'm definitely not counting my chickens before they hatch. Well, I lied. We are going to work today. Walked outside after lunch, like, man, it sure looks like it's done quite a bit of drying up around here. Like this half-inch we got, it's soaked in. So I got to thinking myself, man, it sure would be nice to get some more nitrogen put out before more rain shows up this afternoon. Storms are building. How much can we get done? All right, something else I wanted to get done today that's even more important than getting our nitrogen applied is we're over here on Dunlap Farm where our NutriCharge plots are, and I wanted to get the NutriCharge applied, especially considering there's a high probability it will get rained in this afternoon. It would be a best case scenario for that product to get it activated in the soil to where it can theoretically start working. So we just came over here at Dunlap Farm. We've already got lined up on our first plot. Now we've got 12 row plots, treated and untreated, replicated 5 times across the field. And originally what we were going to do, we were going to have 5 treated plots, 5 untreated plots. And the treated plots were going to be treated with power plant as a seed coating at planting, and then come back with NutriCharge. And I got thinking, well, we got so many replications here, we have a chance to do more than just test NutriCharge. We have the chance to test both NutriCharge and Power Plant. They're 2 different products. Now they got the same active ingredient and everything, but you know, they're marketed as 2 separate products. So what we're going to do, we're going to change our test plot protocol up a little bit. We're still going to have our 5 untreated checks going across the field. However, for the treated checks, instead of having 5 with power plant and NutriCharge, what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 plots with power plant and NutriCharge, and then we're going to have 2 plots with just the power plant. So I mean, not only are we testing if NutriCharge itself works, but we could also be testing if power plant by itself does work. So if the power plant plots show, you know, a significant yield boost over the untreated checks, then I mean that tells us what we need to know. If the NutriCharge and power plant treatments show an even greater yield boost over the untreated checks and the power plant plots, then we'll really know if NutriCharge works. So anyway, the good thing about my sprayer is that one boom there covers 12 rows exactly. So we got about 400 gallons of untreated UAN in the tank. We're going to go through and we're going to spray all of our untreated plots, all 5 replications, and then we'll come back, we'll throw the required amount of NutriCharge in the tank, and we'll spray 3 of our 5 treated plots. So I think we're going to spray the first treated plot, the second treated plot will be power plant, the third treated plot will be NutriCharge and power plant, the fourth treated plot will be just power plant, and then the 5th treated plot will be both NutriCharge and power plant. And I think that'll give us a real good scientific representation of what these products are about and whether they actually work or not. And something else I wanted to show y'all, you know, I talked about how I just was not happy at all with my stand of decal 6744 this year. All the other varieties showed up fine, but 6744, just for whatever reason, did not get good emergence on it. It started leafing out underground, corkscrewing underground rather than spiking through the ground and coming up like it should. And unfortunately, my plots are planted in decal 6744, so you know it's going to be, you know, a suboptimal plant stand for this test, although the test results should still be valid. But anyway, we're planted right next to our University of Tennessee and Pioneer test plots, so I'll show you the 6744, the problems with it, and then we'll go literally to the next row over and see the see other hybrids and how they came up. All right, looking right here, plant here, plant here. We got one missing there. Plant here, plant here, plant here, like it should be. And then we got a straggler right there. Leafed out, came up late. It's gonna be a weed. It's not gonna produce much of anything. Got another plant, skip, plant, 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 plant. You can go down here. Look at that. We got another straggler. Finally came up, but it leafed out underground and really delayed its emergence. Gonna be another weed. And then so on. This row's not too terribly bad. I've seen other spots with this variety where it's been a lot worse. So let's come right over here to see those small orange flags down there. That's the end of the, I can't remember if it's Pioneer or UT varieties we got right here. But anyway, look at that. I mean, every seed came up. It's all at the same growth stage. Absolutely no problems at all. And I don't even know what this variety is. I could go look at the flag, but I don't even know what variety this is. But this is very similar to what I've seen of all the other varieties that I planted. Just did not have the emergence issues with those varieties. It's what I did this 6744. So I still haven't gotten the report back where the dealer was supposed to pull the lot number and look at the cold germ test, see if we can figure out anything there or whatever. So anyway, we're going to go through, spray our 5 untreated plots, then throw us some NutriCharge in the tank and spray those too. All right, go through here and cut off every section except for my right boom there. All right, we also want to change our rate from our RX rate to just a flat rate. Take another variable out there. We're going to put out 29 gallons an acre. Now we're going to count rows, get lined up on our next pass. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, second pass. All right, this right here is the last of our untreated plots. The like I said, we're going to also leave NutriCharge plots 2 and 4 as untreated with the NutriCharge I'm applying today, so we need to go ahead and fill those in too. All right, you can see right here, here's our untreated plot number 1, here's our untreated plot number 5. Our treated plot number 5 is going to be on this side, so we're lined up. We're going to spray this one, leave this one out, and then spray this one right there. All right, you can tell there we got our other plots filled in, so we got a NutriCharge plot 1, 3, and 5 let's do. So let's go put the NutriCharge in. All right, looks like we got about 210 gallons of UAN in the tank. Let's see, 200 gallons divided by 29 gallons per acre. Right around 7 acres worth in there. And what the manufacturer told me, the recommended rate for putting it out through UAN side dressing at the rate of UAN we're applying is 9.6 fluid ounces per acre. So 9.6 times 7 equals 67 ounces we need to put in our tank. Again, huge thanks to Bradley Shanklin at Titan Ag LLC. Without them, this test would not be possible. They did provide me this product free of charge to test for myself. Tell you what, it sure is some pretty stuff, some bright orange stuff. Kind of reminds me of Prowl. All right, we're gonna fill it up a little over the 64 ounce mark. You can see our UAN level there in the tank. And down the hatch she goes. All right, we'll turn our agitation on there. Sit here a minute, let it get agitated in the tank real good. Tell you what, we better hurry up and get done. We might not have much time left. All right, you see those orange flags there? That's where our UT variety plots end. So what we're going to do is on the UT variety plots, we're going to make one full boom width pass down there to make sure we got the NutriCharge in the system and all the way out to our boom tips. It takes about 20 gallons of solution to completely clear the lines out, and we should easily get that from here to the other end. All right, now we got that done. We're going to go down here and get lined up on our first NutriCharge pass. All right, lined up for our second pass, our third NutriCharge plot. All right, getting lined up for our third and final pass. You can see our bicycle flag right there, which marks the edge of the plot. I don't know all the science behind this NutriCharge. I do know that it's supposed to make your phosphorus more available by the phosphorus binding to this NutriCharge rather than other elements within the soil, and you know, theoretically it makes it more available to plants. It makes it better or easier for the plants to uptake, have higher fertility in the plants, you have higher yields. Anyway, it's been promoted quite a bit, and we just want to put it to the test ourselves to see if there's actually anything to it, find out if it'll help us increase yields, and who knows, we might have found a gem of a product, but we won't know until we test it ourselves. Anyway, looks like we got done just in time with our plots. So any amount of rainfall, it's definitely going to be too wet to do any more. But hey, at least we got these plots knocked out. I feel a whole lot better about that, because I was really anxious to get them in and then get a rain on them to actually get the NutriCharge and the nitrogen incorporated in the soil to where it can start working.
So today, so me and Andy are out here. It's about 9:30. This is our second load. Our first load we did 1 gallon and a half of Infex. with I think around 1,000 gallons of water. Right now we're gonna do like a kind of like a little custom load. We're gonna do around, I think it's 1.125 gallons of Infex with 800 gallons of water, which will be right around, I think which would be 1 gallon and 16 ounces of Infex. I'm gonna double check my math, but that should be right where it's at. I'm gonna double check, but we're gonna do that with 800 gallons of water. I'm assuming he probably didn't run all the way out, so that's why we're doing that. So I'm just gonna show y'all how we do it. I mean, it's real simple. You just gotta be real precise with how you measure it and whatnot. Let's get up here and get this loaded up before he gets up here. Now, 1 gallon is 2 fill-ups of this, which is 64 fluid ounces. On the dot. All right, so we have 1 gallon. Now we need 16, which is right there. On the dot. 1 gallon, 16 ounces. Quick little fun fact. Nitrogen has an atomic mass of 14.0063, I think, or maybe 67. Somebody fact check me on that. Y'all just saw a fail. Gun got stuck. And I got nitrogen all over me. It's gonna burn the hairs off my leg. So nitrogen weighs more than water, so we have to go off the old school way, because the screen is going to show it's heavier than what it actually is, because I mean nitrogen weighs more. Andy. Accidentally overfilled the water truck. Overfilled it a little bit with nitrogen. It's okay though. Just a little bit of money lost. Just a little bit. Just a tad bit. My parking skills are a fine job. Can run over any corn. Well, I'll take that back. I ran over a little bit. Something that I want to say is, if you don't like this sound right here, then something's wrong with you. You need to go to the doctor ASAP.
All right, we're back in the sprayer, back in the cornfields. You can see down there, Carter is actually running the water truck today. I switched tracks. It's this top. You see my tracks right here. You can get lined up actually.
Oh yeah, I see.
Now they're right here. Just get in those and then set or shift track.
Shift track.
Yeah, speed up just a little bit more.
Me and Andy are spraying Sorry, we're spraying corn, spraying nitrogen.
That's right, we big time today, baby. We're big time operating. What we're doing is I'm spraying a little bit of corn post-emerge here. When Andy was finishing up the other day, he was like 1 acre short. And I'd already swapped out all the chemicals on the water truck to you know, start spraying soybeans. Like I ain't digging all those bulk tanks back out just to spray 1 acre corn. I'll come back and get it with the side-by-side at a later date. So we're almost too late. This corn's right at our herbicide restrictions for height. We're limited to 12-inch tall corn on the herbicides we're spraying according to the label, and I mean we're right there at it. So we're getting this 1 little acre knocked out today, and then our corn will officially be laid by until we're ready for a fungicide. All right, a lot of folks have asked me over the last year, messaged me about using these stream bars in corn. You know, they're worried about streaming it over the top, about burning the corn. And what I've told every single one of them, in our experience, if you do it by V5, the burn will be very, very minimal because there's just not as much leaf surface out there to intercept the nitrogen coming out of those stream bars. And also to that effect, if you do get some burn, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to kill the corn plant. And knowing a long time ago, whenever we were using nitrogen like 7-way tips that can cause a lot of burn, we didn't see any adverse yield effects. But anyway, this field right here we sprayed on Monday. It is now Friday, and I'll show you exactly just how much burn we've got. All right, got a little bit right there on that leaf. Got just a little bit on that leaf. Just a little bit down there, right there. Now you see, I mean, it's just minimal burn. Now you can see a little bit there, but I mean, it hasn't hurt the corn plant one bit. And this right here was right at V5, almost V6 whenever we sprayed it. So it was right there at the very limit of what I tell myself that I'm going to stream it on there at. And I mean, just absolutely just very minimal burn. And in our mind, just the speed and the efficiency of being able to get your acres covered very quickly far outweigh any kind of minimal burn that you will get. I'll be streaming it on 100 feet wide at anywhere from 5 to 9 miles an hour, just depending on the rate that we're putting at, is far quicker than dragging a knife rig across these acres at, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles an hour, having to do a lot more turning around, running over a lot more corn, a lot more damage. And to us, it's even better than wide drops, because wide drops, you're limited to 60 feet wide. And then, I mean, you see all these hills, terraces, and everything else. I just don't think a wide drop system would survive on our farm. It's a great system, don't get me wrong, if you've got the land to run it on, but for us, I just don't think it would be feasible, not to mention the expense of the wide drop rig, which is pretty dang high. So like most other things in farming, there is no 100% ideal, perfect way to do everything. Everything's got its pros and cons, and for us, using Needham Ag stream bars on our corn, there's a whole lot more pros than there is cons. Oh, and one other thing, that 32% UAN was put out without like any kind of humic acid added to it, which I've seen several growers that do this. They add humic acid in to I guess kind of buffer the nitrogen to where maybe it doesn't burn so bad. I haven't actually tested that myself. I don't know. I just know that there's quite a few producers that do it, but with a little amount of burn that we're seeing out there, I just for us, I can't see adding that extra expense of the humic acid in there, because I mean we're getting next to nothing on leaf burn as it is. All right, we're about to get our corn side dress wrapped up. Andy's up here on our last 60-acre field, and we will have all of this done. This is some of our last planted corn. It's definitely a few days behind where we started spraying. So right now it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. It's V4, almost V5. And let me tell you, man, she is pretty. Good looking corn. And up to now, I've pretty much been showing you kind of our poor looking corn where we just didn't have the best stand, you know, primarily DeKalb 6744, and then a couple other varieties that, I mean, it had a good enough stand, but I mean, out here, I mean, it just looks fantastic. And then one of my other farms, I rode through yesterday is DeKalb 6593. It's on an old poor hill pasture farm or whatever, and I tell you what, that's about the most even corn I've ever had. I mean, I think every seed came up just perfectly uniform across the field, just looks absolutely beautiful. So for the vast majority of our corn crop, we're off to a real good start, and I'd say we still got pretty close to 100% yield potential. I'm really happy with it as long as we can continue to get rains through June and July. I mean, we've got the chances of having a pretty dang big corn crop. Question is, are we gonna have enough nitrogen to cover it all? We drained both of our tanks there at the gin, and Helena was supposed to have about another 2,800 gallons over there at the location that I was gonna go pick up first thing this morning, but they had a few hundred gallons less than what they thought, and according to my prescriptions, it's gonna be really tight whether we're gonna have enough nitrogen to finish fertilizing all of this. Up until this field, Carter's been running the water truck there, but considering, you know, he's almost 17 years old, you know, I feel comfortable with him driving that truck around the shop and those country roads, but getting up here in the city limits of Jackson, definitely don't want him operating the truck up here. So he's back at the shop spraying Roundup around the zombie trail and stuff, and I took over the water truck for our fields up here in Madison County. Hey Andy, do you know if you've got enough to finish up that corner yet or not?
I'm not too sure. My tank is reading 25 gallons, and it's, I think I've got like 7 acres, I think is what it's saying.
I'll wait around on you.
Okay.
Well, we definitely gonna be cutting it close. He's way over the top of the hill. He's got a little corner left over there, and looks like he's about to run out, but I still got like 300 gallons in the tank. So I mean, we got plenty here. Just whether or not he got to come back and fill up. I know he's got to cut out here pretty quick. He got big plans for this holiday weekend, so we'll get him out of here as soon as possible. Even though it's supposed to like be absolutely miserable here for the next 4 days. I think they're calling for like up to 4 inches of rain between tonight and like Monday night. So it's going to be a pretty miserable weekend for everybody wanting to spend this holiday weekend outside. But for me, it's I'm okay with it. I'm just fine. We got all this nitrogen applied, getting some rain on it, getting it incorporated in the soil, giving this corn a kickstart. It'll be just fine with me. I've got no plans to go to the lake or anything like that. So a little bit of rain this weekend, be just fine with me. Yeah, he didn't have quite enough. I gotta let the pump run like 5 seconds. He needs like 15 more gallons of nitrogen to finish it up. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to fill our lines up with nitrogen and shut it off, and then blow our lines out with air, and that should be right around 15-20 gallons. Alright, now we're going to crack the lines, let the air out, because otherwise that nitrogen in the line, it'll just splash out on you. I'm already covered, burning in multiple cuts. I absolutely despise working with liquid nitrogen. It's some of the nastiest stuff you'll ever find. Are you good? Thank goodness I got a water tank here on the back. Yeah, I tell you what, I'd rather mess with old skull and crossbones of paraquat or some of the other insecticides any day than mess with this frequent liquid nitrogen.